Well, them is his titles. It's all respect. Like I told everybody for a long time. I'm like, man, me and Canelo. I got a ton of respect for Canelo. I'm a fan of Canelo. I always been a fan of Canelo, and I wanted to be the one to give him back his belts. I didn't want my team to hand him back his belts. I wanted to be the one to give him back his belts.
The only thing I told him was that you could not give Canelo the center of the ring. And earlier you gave it to him, but then you started outboxing him and outsmarting him with it, and he started taking it back at the right time. So he studied his film very well. He knew when to fight, when to move left, and when to move right. Very smart fight. He completely frustrated Canelo.
The only thing I wonder is if Crawford was born and made in a laboratory, in a test tube, because that was science. That was pure science. No two ways about it.
The crowd just witnessed something unforgettable. Crawford pulled off the unthinkable, toppling Canelo in a way almost nobody predicted. The atmosphere was electric, experts stunned, fans in shock, and the sport itself entering a brand new chapter. Then, in the middle of all that chaos, Crawford's father spoke up. Calmly, he said, "I always knew my son had this in him." There was no surprise in his voice, just the steady conviction built from years of training, sacrifices, and belief only a father carries. It was a reminder that greatness isn't luck. It's earned, piece by piece. With that one line, he summed up a lifetime of faith, and a victory that will forever reshape boxing's story.
Hard to beat that, brother. He's going to be up there somewhere close to the top five, I promise you.
And before the celebration even settled, Roy Jones shared his perspective. When someone like Roy speaks, the boxing world listens. His words weren't casual commentary, they were a stamp of approval from one of the sport's most respected minds. He didn't hype Crawford's win. He validated it. The kind of validation that doesn't fade, but instead echoes through the history books. With Roy's take, Crawford's win stopped being just a victory. It turned into a new standard, a performance now weighed against the greatest of all time. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't if Crawford was great, it was where he ranks among legends.
Absolutely, I picked Canelo because I thought he was so much bigger, almost three weight divisions above him. But the majesty and poise of Terence Crawford's brilliance tonight was to the fore. I had it 9 rounds to 3. I can just about see 8 rounds to 4, the 16-12 score. I cannot see 7 rounds to 5 from 2 of the judges. Terence Crawford tonight, at speed of thought, speed of hands, speed of feet, took it to Canelo when he had to. Canelo had no answers to him. For me, Terence Crawford moves up to the number 1 pound for pound spot in the sport right now, above Naoya Inoue, above Alexander Usyk. He is incredible. To become historically a 3-weight undisputed world champion, it just beggars belief what he's managed to do. He was immense tonight. He took it with humility. There was a little bit of emotion afterwards, but from first to last, I have to say it, Canelo did not have the answers for him. So let's take nothing away from Crawford. It was all of his doing.
Oh, absolutely.
He was the one that made Canelo look older, slower, and without the right time.
Next came Gareth F. Davies, a seasoned analyst known for breaking fights down with precision. His response was both sharp and filled with awe, perfectly capturing the weight of what just happened. This wasn't emotional praise, it was an expert's verdict. Every point he made emphasized Crawford's command of the ring, his brilliance in every exchange. From Garrett's experienced eye, it wasn't just a win. It was a flawless showcase. In his view, Crawford's performance wasn't an upset at all, it was a masterpiece. And in that moment, his claim to the very top of boxing felt undeniable.
He schooled him. He schooled him from start to finish. Listen, it was cagey at the start, don't get me wrong. There was a little bit of nip and tuck, there was a little bit of downloading the data, seeing what the situation is. Interesting that for the full 12 rounds, he only boxed in southpaw. No switch hitting tonight, stayed in southpaw. A little bit of downloading of the data, and then just gradually went through the gears up to round 4, and that's when he started to put his foot down. Everything Canelo did tonight, Bud Crawford had an answer for.
Then Adam Catterall stepped in, delivering his take with surgical precision. His approach was less about excitement and more about hard truth. walking through exactly how Crawford dismantled one of boxing's most dominant champions, step by step. Every detail highlighted the control Crawford held from start to finish. He wasn't just winning rounds, he was dictating the story. Adam made it clear, this wasn't a close fight, it was a complete schooling. One that lifted Crawford's reputation even higher, leaving no doubt that we had just witnessed something extraordinary.
Not only that, if you go back and watch the previews that we did throughout the course of the week, we said that this is a game of IQ. There's going to be movement within the fight. You're going to have to answer different types of questions and bring different types of game plan. Crawford did that. He was able to do it backwards, he was able to do it forwards, he could trade in the pocket, catch the stuff, and then counter. He was absolutely magnificent. Listen, I know this is raw and we've only just walked out the stadium, right?
10 minutes ago.
And when the dust settles on this, we'll probably have better answers and better thought processes. And I'm sure people watching this will get stuck into the comments and maybe say what I'm about to say is quite outlandish. That might be the single best performance that I have ever witnessed live. It was absolutely tremendous. You've got to take into consideration the weight jump. This is a man that was champion at 135, 140, 147, and obviously recently at 154. But let's be honest, he even jumped up to 154 pounds for that. To go then up to 168 and take on the Forbes pound for pound #1 king on a Mexican holiday weekend in Las Vegas.
But Adam didn't stop there. He went deeper, digging into why this night stood out as historic. His words carried the fresh energy of someone who had just witnessed greatness unfold live. This wasn't routine analysis, it was admiration for a performance that stretched the limits of the sport. The way Crawford adjusted, countered, and controlled every scenario was like watching a living masterpiece. Adam's reflection gave the sense that we hadn't just seen a fight, we'd seen one of the rare showcases people will talk about for decades.
The weight jump. This is a man that was champion at 135, 140, 147, and obviously recently at 154. But let's be honest, he even jumped up to 154 pounds for that. To go then up to 168 and take on the Forbes pound for pound #1 king on a Mexican holiday weekend in Las Vegas and managed to beat him on the cards when the judges tried to do him. Mate, it is out of this world what Terence Crawford just did. And he needs all the flowers in the world, he needs all the praise in the world. And I don't think you're wrong, mate, by saying he's the pound for pound #1. It's an ever-moving list. That performance alone deserves to put him right at the top of the chart.
Adam then widened the frame, zooming out to the bigger picture. He reminded everyone of the obstacles, Crawford moving up in weight, the odds stacked against him, and the brightest stage possible. This wasn't simply about beating Canelo. It was about defying the very things that were supposed to make it impossible. His words turned Crawford from a winner into a trailblazer, a man who made history against the toughest of backdrops. With that, the victory wasn't just celebrated. It was immortalized as one of the sport's greatest accomplishments.
Terence "Bud" Crawford makes history. I mean, that's the only way I can really start out this video. A lot to unpack on an amazing performance by Terence Crawford. Wasn't the most exciting fight, but really it was about Bud Crawford. It was about what he accomplished tonight, and it was about, you know, becoming the first undisputed world champion in the 4-belt era in 3 different weight classes. Really, and the way he did it, and you know, the class that he showed all throughout the preparation, and just flawless. I mean, Terence Crawford has had an amazing career against a lot of very good fighters and world-class fighters, and honestly has barely lost a round.
That's when Paulie Malignaggi added his voice, opening with a statement that immediately set the tone. For Paulie, this wasn't just another big fight. It was a night etched into boxing history. He emphasized what truly mattered, Crawford's achievement and how he carried himself in doing it. There was no need for flash or drama. Just pure dominance and composure. Paulie painted the portrait of a fighter who has built one of the sport's strongest resumes, one not defined only by wins, but by how rarely he's ever let an opponent take even a round.
Crawford really boxed very, very well, very, very intelligently. The question mark was what happens when Crawford gets hit cleanly. I'm not sure he got hit cleanly the whole fight. You know, he got hit with some partial shots. Some shots landed cleanly, but by the time Canelo started landing anything cleanly, I think he was hesitant because he was getting countered so much that he was taking some of the steam off the shots in order to hope to be more accurate. Because even late in the fight, there were a couple of shots that Canelo landed, but they barely moved. Crawford, you know. There were some good body shots Canelo was throwing, but Crawford started countering those very, very well. I think the key point started coming once after the first round. Crawford shifted a lot and moved a lot. I wanted to just kind of see where Canelo's power was at. He caught a couple of shots on the gloves, and I think there came a point in the first 1 or 2 rounds where Crawford said, this guy's not as strong as I thought, because he started seeing Crawford hold his ground more and more, and he started seeing Crawford, you know, doing a lot of catching and shooting.
Paulie dug deeper, focusing on the brilliance of Crawford's tactics. His analysis wasn't simply what Crawford did, but how intelligently he did it. Every adjustment, every counter told the story of a fighter in total command. He explained how even when Canelo searched for openings, Crawford neutralized him with timing, precision, and ring IQ at the absolute highest level. His breakdown made clear that Crawford wasn't just surviving. He was dismantling, with intelligence and intent, from the opening bell.
In order to do a lot of catching and shooting, you've got to be willing to take the shot, even if you're going to block it. If a guy's a big puncher, even blocking it can be uncomfortable. And Crawford started getting comfortable catching and shooting, especially when Canelo tried to go to the body. Crawford was catching the shots and coming back with the counters. Sharp shots. Crawford never loaded up, but he was sharp the whole night. Sharp with the jab, sharp with the counters, some well-placed body shots as well. Canelo landed here and there. I thought Canelo got really frustrated. I felt that headbutt was a little bit more than accidental, to tell you the truth, when he cut Crawford. I thought that was a little bit more of frustration, because the headbutt may have been accidental, but then you saw Canelo kind of dig his head in Crawford's face. So I thought there was some frustration from Canelo's perspective, because he ran out of answers.
Paulie then turned to Crawford's sharpness, pointing out how frustration began creeping into Canelo's game. He described a fight where Crawford kept catching, firing back, and punishing with pinpoint accuracy. It wasn't raw power, it was discipline and timing at work. Paulie showed how, as Canelo ran out of ideas, he leaned on rough tactics, exposing his own unraveling. Crawford, on the other hand, stayed calm and cold, making every moment another reminder of who was in charge.
Anytime Canelo has been down in his career, he has not shown an ability to both make an adjustment nor go for it and put his balls on the line. Not saying he's got no heart. Obviously, Canelo's been a very good fighter. I'm just saying there's a reason why the Mexican greats all have criticism for this guy. You know, Marquez, Morales, Barrera, and he's done disrespectful things to them, like not getting, like block their credentials from his fights and things of that nature, not let them cover fights. This is what they're talking about, dude. Every time this guy is behind, every time this guy needs to put his balls on the line, he just cruises to a decision loss and is content to do it. And then afterwards says, Viva Mexico Cabrones, and his groupies just appease him and clap. These guys come from a different cloth. You know, the Mexican machismo of the old school greats in Mexican boxing is a different level. Not everyone is expected to live up to it, but the Mexican fighters themselves that did live up to it, they expect the new ones to live up to it. So when they don't, naturally they're going to express that. And of course, there's been some criticism from those kind of guys. And I'm not saying Canelo hasn't done some really good things, guys. It's not that. You can criticize a guy and still say he's been a good fighter and all this other stuff. But I think tonight, once again, showed his character.
Paulie didn't hold back in his view of Canelo's character under pressure. His words were direct, even cutting, but filled with truth. The contrast was obvious, Crawford rising when it mattered most, while Canelo seemed willing to fade. Paulie's honesty echoed the criticism Canelo has often faced from Mexican legends, not that he isn't great, but that when compared to the rarest of fighters, comfort sometimes overshadows grit. Crawford's resilience, in that final assessment, burned brighter than ever, while Canelo's limits were exposed for all to see.
Boxing masterclass from Terence Crawford. Canelo tried everything, kept coming forward, kept throwing, but as soon as he got him where he wanted him, Terence just got out of trouble and was landing shots as he did it. Unbelievable.
Then came Big John Fisher with his straight shooting verdict, the kind of plain talk fans appreciate. His message was simple but heavy. This was domination, pure and clear. Crawford didn't just win. He controlled every second with skill and composure. For Big John, that was nothing short of unbelievable. He followed up with another thought, balancing honesty with respect. He reminded everyone that sometimes, no matter how much heart you bring, skill sets are just too far apart.
I think there was a golfing class there, and I don't know whether Canelo will be able to gap that at his age in life. So, listen, two great warriors, two great champions. Honour to be here. Unbelievable.
For Canelo, Big John suggested, age and timing might have built a wall too high to climb. But he didn't dismiss the effort, he recognized it as two champions giving everything they had. His take gave Crawford his flowers, while still honoring Canelo as a warrior who came up short. Then Johnny Fisher stepped in, breaking down the finer details that defined the fight. He pointed out how Crawford's control wasn't just physical, it was psychological. From the opening seconds of every round, Crawford stamped authority, forcing Canelo to chase a fight that wasn't there.